podcast, DNF Football. So we're here, joined by a special guest. He runs our Insta page. DNF Football, DNF underscore football on Instagram. You'll probably see like someone like right there. Um, but this person, huge hockey guy. Big Habs fan. Just recently framed his Shea Weber jersey. He runs a Hockey Oast. Without a further ado, Xavier,
Hey, thanks for having me.
big Raiders fan.
Yeah.
Repping the Vegas Golden Knights cap. Just to rep some Vegas out here.
What do you think of the Raiders moving to Vegas?
Oh, I think it's much better. Obviously Oakland and will always be a part of their history, but their stadium was honestly pretty bad. And you see the one they're building in Las Vegas, like the Coliseum. I hope they name it that because otherwise I would be disappointed. But I'm really excited for that. I think it's a great move, and I honestly do feel bad for Raiders fans in Oakland, but
Because the attendance was really dropping.
yeah, it's dropping fast.
And playing on a baseball field, like, that's rough. Moving on to what the Raiders have done so far. So just to give some details, so probably their biggest addition of this offseason was signing former Rams linebacker Corey Littleton to a 3-year, $35.25 million deal. $22 million is guaranteed in that deal. They also went out and got Nick Kwiatkowski.
Yeah.
3-year, $21 million deal, $13.5 million guaranteed.
Which is a little overpaid, but
They also got former Packers Browns defensive back Demarius Randall on a 1-year, $2.1 million deal. They got defensive tackle Malik Collins on a 1-year, $6 million deal. They got former Cowboys, lifelong tight end Jason Witten on a 1-year, $4 million deal. They got backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, former Titans guy, on a 2-year, $17.6 million deal.
Former first rounder also.
Interesting move. Yeah. They also got former Cowboys safety Jeff Heath on a 2-year, $6 million pact. They got defensive end Carl Nassib on a 3-year, $25 million deal. They also got former Eagles wide receiver Nelson Aguilar on a 1-year, $1.047 million deal. We know what happened with him. They also added more depth to the tight end room by signing Nick O'Leary on a 1-year, $910,000 deal. They also got offensive lineman Eric Kush on a 1-year, same exact deal as Nick O'Leary. So what's your take on that, Xavier?
I mean, I'm really happy about Corey Littleton. I know the Packers were going for him as well. So I'm happy because linebackers, we were having a problem, an issue there. Tahir Whitehead he was a great leader, a great guy, but he wasn't necessarily filling that role well. So adding a guy like Corey Littleton, made the Pro Bowl, I think in 2018. He really proved himself last season. So I think that was a perfect thing. I really like Nelson Aguilar. I know he drops a lot of passes, but I think he's a great slot receiver. You put him in the slot, he can create separation, and if he works on his hands, I think it could be in steal because his contract is nothing. I think it's close to the minimum allowed. So I really like that.
Oakland has spent a lot of money. They had a lot of good signings. I really like addressing their interior pressure. Especially their run game was not the greatest. I think we could all agree on that. But they do have a lot of potential. Edge rusher. Max Crosby was very talented. I think Eric Harris, he had a multiple interception game. They have a lot of potential, I think.
And a lot of first-round picks this year.
Exactly, yeah. They have 2 first-round picks, 12 and 19.
Yeah.
So they can, most likely going to use it on a receiver or maybe even cornerback. I think those are their 2 biggest needs. I think that they're in a good position now. I think they're going to be ready to compete.
A lot of Raiders fans have different opinions on this, and I just want to hear yours. What's your take on Derek Carr? Like, is he the guy that's gonna bring
Uh,
potentially the Raiders to the playoff?
I mean, Derek Carr is a great person, great leader. He proved that he can be an exceptional football player already. He's proved that to us. I don't know what happened to him recently. I don't know if it was his injury that like stopped him, but I know that Derek Carr has talent, and to see him always get trashed on is kind of annoying. But he hasn't been playing his best football, in my opinion, lately. So I do think that having Marcus Mariota to back him up is gonna might push him a bit more
Mhm.
because we know that Marcus Mariota he said that it was Derek Carr's team and that he was just there to back him up, but in reality everyone's gonna fight for that starting job.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they're gonna be able to push each other and have the best come out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we were talking about in the video we did with Keon and Marcus, talking about the Rams. Bringing in someone like Jameis Winston to compete with Jared Goff.
Mhm.
Nothing's finalized, but I think that'd be a good idea for the Rams. Chicago did the same thing. Trade for Nick Foles,
Nick Foles, yeah.
compete
Yeah.
exactly. I think it's a good idea what they did. I think that will answer some questions about potentially drafting a quarterback in the draft. But we all know John Gruden and his quarterbacks. He had four quarterbacks on the roster this
Yeah.
year. They had Derek Carr, they had Mike Lennon,
Nathan
they had
Peterman.
Nate Peterman. I think they had AJ McCarron for a little bit
Yeah.
after shipping him off to Houston. I like what they're doing. They definitely still need help at receiver. I think surrounding Derek Carr with more talent, to bring out the best in him, and hopefully to resurrect the days when he was an MVP candidate and the Raiders made the playoffs and they were on their way to the Super Bowl if not for his broken leg.
We might just a little talk about the draft. And so what positions do you think the Raiders should target during this draft?
I mean, wide receivers for sure because we have Tyrell Williams, who was basically brought in to back up Antonio Brown. We all know how that worked out. Um,
Yeah.
we need, I think we need because we already have a good foundation. I think with Darren Waller, with Darren Waller and Tyrell Williams. I think if we can bring in more talent, maybe C.D. Lamb, Henry Ruggs, or Jerry Judy, that would be fantastic. We also need to focus on the defensive side because our cornerbacks are fine, but
I totally agree. Definitely great that they addressed their need for linebackers, inside and outside. I wonder what they're going to do with their front seven. Maybe have a 4-3, or even 4-4. Single safety high. We don't know yet how they're planning on addressing their defensive side of the ball. Oakland has been Las Vegas. They've been a bit of a laughing stock just because of the Antonio Brown situation.
Yeah.
But I think if they could definitely find someone permanent, someone that's committed, a CD Lamb type, just for their offense.
mhm,
John Gruden loves to play action in the RPO. He loves addressing uh, the routes that he finds his receivers are best at. He does that with Darren Waller a lot, and he brings
Yeah.
out the best in his receivers. Um, I think that if Mike Mayock can surround him with better talent, I think instead of building the offense around Derek Carr, Gruden will build it around his offensive weapons and bring out the best in them.
Well,
Uh,
maybe build it around Josh Jacob,
yeah,
yeah,
who's
Josh Jacobs too.
yeah, for sure. I think he got snubbed a bit for
Oh, right.
offensive rookie of the year, but
Kyler Murray.
and Kyler Murray's, in my opinion, is already being underrated.
We also wanted to talk about was the expectation for this coming season. Uh, you know, with an AFC West getting more stacked than ever,
Mhm.
you see Denver Broncos
Yeah.
made huge moves. The Chargers, a bit of uncertainty at the quarterback position there,
Yeah.
but they still have their weapons. They got Chris Harris Jr. They had a couple of other big acquisitions on the defensive side of the ball, so their defense is looking scarier than ever. What's your take on that? How do you think the Raiders are going to do next year?
I still think they're sort of, I don't know, 2 years away from being good, like really good. Um, Denver had a great offseason. The Chiefs
The
are
Chiefs, yeah.
honestly they might become a dynasty, I think. I think they might finish third or second, but we'll see. I think they're still 2 years away from having maybe an offensive powerhouse.
Yeah, so with the NFL like expanding its playoff format to 7 seeds, do you think Oakland has a chance to compete next year?
Yeah, I think they have a chance, but every year teams get better. The Cleveland Browns, they got more players, and we were competing with them last year for that playoff spot with the Steelers also. So
Jason Witten signed with you guys, longtime former Cowboy. We've seen his yard total regress. Why do you think they signed him?
for leadership, I mean, he's definitely not in his prime. He's slower than ever, but he has experience in the league. He might be able to help Darren Waller, Foster Moreau, all those young guns in our system. So I don't mind it. It's a, I think $4 million contract. I'm not sure, but I'm fine with it. It's a 1 year, so
All right, Xavier. So you see the cap I'm wearing?
yeah.
Vegas, baby. So the Golden Knights, they made it to the Stanley Cup in their first year in the league. Are they making the Super Bowl?
I mean, you never know. I doubt it. I don't. I love this team, but I doubt it. We'll see.
Do you think the market in Las Vegas is helping you guys get more players?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there have already been a lot of players. I'm not sure about the tax situation in Las Vegas, but I heard it's lower, and I've seen a lot of players talk about wanting to come there just for that. So I think it's gonna long term, it's gonna help us a lot.
Just a couple more questions surrounding, Derek Carr. There's been a lot of uncertainty at the position. John Gruden's been very, open-minded about the situation at the QB. What would your reaction be if somehow John Gruden pulls a rabbit out of the hat and just, snags a quarterback with that 12th pick?
It depends who.
Say Justin Herbert.
I'm not sure about him. Like he's been good in college, but I don't know if he'll be able to transition his game well enough. Tua, I really like Tua, but he's been injury prone. He has a great arm. He knows how to play, but still injuries. I would like them to go get a wide receiver because I think that's going to help get Derek Carr to that next level. But
On the topic of wide receivers, so out of the three, they're most likely at 12. They're probably going to take a receiver, unless they wait around and take one at 19. There's a very high chance that Lamb, Judy, and Ruggs are all three going to be available by the time the Raiders pick, unless someone trades up or maybe the
Wait,
Jets take someone at 11. If you had to pick one of those receivers that you think would best fit the system in Las Vegas, who would you take?
I feel Jerry Judy's better after the catch, after the run, like running with the ball. I think that's John Gruden's system a bit more than just going for the deep ball and just gunning it. So I think Jerry Judy fits more into the system than CD Lamb.
But would you think like a speedster like Henry Ruggs would fit well in his system, even though he loves to develop the routes that they run, and not always target the deep ball with Derek Carr?
Yeah, well, it all depends on John Gruden. If it depends what plays he's gonna call, it depends if he's gonna put like enough faith in Derek Carr to throw those balls. So
well, don't you think the Raiders should turn themselves to more of a running game offense?
they should because Josh Jacobs is a monster. But you saw last year when he got injured, their passing game wasn't running well.
Mm.
Their offensive line, we had a good one at the start of the season, but they were dead because they were just running and running, protecting Josh Jacobs. So I really want them to somehow try to implement both a passing game and a run game.
So if I could, just bring up the San Francisco 49ers. So they're a very run-heavy team. They have a lot of depth at running back. Kyle Shanahan, very inside zone kind of guy, loves attacking up the middle. And when he's not running, Jimmy Garoppolo, he'll fake it and play action.
Reaction.
Seattle does that too. They love to develop the deeper routes. But San Francisco also incorporates end arounds. Do you think maybe John Gruden will be a little more, sneaky with the way he attacks the field?
I think you should. Like, you pointed San Francisco had great depth at running. They had 3 running backs that could do the job each time. They had Juszczyk that could block for them. They had Kittle doing the same. I think that with Ingold and Darren Waller being able to block for our running backs, I think for sure John Gruden could start exploring the field a bit more.
Yeah, and they also have Jalen Richard, very, very, very good receiving running back, I find,
Yeah, for sure. And we lost DeAndre Washington,
to Kansas
but I
City.
think that was unfortunate. But we brought in a CFL running back called William Stanback. He's really good. I think he can fit that role in well.
If you had to project maybe their final record for the 2020 season, do you think it's to be over 500, under 500?
I think they'll be over 500 for sure. But you never know. Injuries can happen. Bad trades. Mike Mayock has been pretty good, but you never know.
Except for Antonio Brown, but
I mean, that was a good trade at the time, but
Yeah. Well, that basically wraps off this amazing segment. Talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. We're hoping for the best. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the draft coming up, and really see how John Gruden runs his offense.
So thank you, thank you, Xavier. Yeah, and drop a like and subscribe to our video. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.
Turn on post notifications, by the way.
See I'm falling, but they be calling when they see me balling. Pass me the rock, man, I feel like I'm spalding. These niggas foul with the rep, do not call it. I've been in the foreigns, you can't even start it. I want a big body, you can't even park it. I'ma go dumb out regardless, cause mama always told me, boy, finish what you started.